Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And actually, I'm streaming to TikTok as well, at least I'm trying to, so give me a moment. I'm gonna pause the stream to see if I can real quick. I should have done this before I actually started. Um, it's okay, I just won't stream to TikTok. But, hello, everyone. I'm back. It's been quite some time, I suppose, since I've streamed anything. But I'm back. I've been going through some highs and lows, goods and bads, but I think I'm good. Or rather, I think I'm getting better. And yeah, I'm gonna at least try to get back into my whole streaming thing. I've been working on animations off and on. I've been starting some projects and quitting them or stopping them, and I've definitely been trying to get better. This is a short animation I've been working on, and I mainly just want to work on the effects and stuff like that. Maybe go over some after images and after effects, but for now, there's still some more details I need to work on. So we will zoom in, and I will work on these little tassel things. And I'll do what I usually do. I like to talk about the character backstory, what the character is inspired by, sort of the overall project. So we're definitely going to get back into our mood. I know I can't just come back after practically a year hiatus, but through everything I've been through and gone through, I do want to get better with my art. And that's certainly something I hope to do. So, anyway, one of the things I decided to do with this character is. So, I don't know if people remember or not, but this is an old character. Her name is Miria. I sort of inspired her by like 90s pop stars, and I've been working on her magic or her powers, and it definitely takes the form of this sort of magic sheet music with blue notes and symbols in it. And so her whole thing is that she sings to creation, which is definitely a fun little thing I've sort of thought about and wanted to develop. Anyway, what I've been doing so far is I've tried to work more on my animation loops. So while I've gotten the overall body, and while it is good that I have been working on the body, the main thing I want to focus on now is this is primarily an exercise to get my effects in the right order. So I've just worked on these past 8 loops, and it's going to be like this 8 frame loop that's going to loop back and forth for the character, and I'm going to extend the time and string it for about, mm, I'll say a minute or two. I definitely need to go back and sort of just adapt how I did my posing because this is a 3.5 second long animation, but I'm actually gonna have to go back and lengthen the time for some of this stuff because I wouldn't necessarily say I rushed it, but it's more so like I wanted to get the basic poses down, and after I got those basic poses down, that was then when I, for a lack of a better word, rushed the project to have a general understanding or idea of what I wanted the model to do. And this project also serves the basic desire to help me stay on model. That's one of definitely a very difficult thing for animation is staying on your character's model. It's something that, though I hate to say it, I've always struggled with is keeping my characters on model. That's what I want to do, and that's what I strive to do, especially when it comes to my pursuit of art and pursuit of the arts. Is keeping my characters on model. And so I think that since I decided to, since this is an animation that's kind of out of my norm, this time I'm animating a beautiful woman instead of other characters that I generally create. Maybe I can focus more than just getting like my passion out. I can say, like, hey, it's a beautiful woman, so I have to make sure this is the perfect animation. Oh, and it has been some time since I streamed, but even in that time, I can say that definitely my project has gone through a few edits. Not necessarily edits, but certainly more developments in what I want to do and what I've been desiring to push in my art and in my animations. So I've definitely decided to focus more on the faith based aspects of my creativity. And I definitely think that this sort of hiatus from streaming and content creation has definitely helped me, has helped develop me and grow me in the sense that I now have a better and more clear and defined headspace and spiritual outlook to now better focus on the story I wish to tell. In that there's definitely a lot that's going on in this world and definitely things that need to be discussed, handled, and processed. I definitely still have my hope. That's one of the things that I've primarily focused on is having hope for the future. Things have gotten better for me. I'm definitely doing better financially and job wise. Like, I'm no millionaire, but I'm now working at a better job to where I have the freedom, liberty, and comfort of mind to now better focus or to better direct myself in my art and in my creativity, which has always been an important thing to me, at least. I mean, one of the good things about animation is to an extent, you do in fact have the liberty to be a bit. Hmm, what's the proper word? You don't have to draw or animate every little thing because a lot of different effects that you want to do are going to be held in post production. It's a whole process with After Effects where you add different glows, overlays, masking layers, different stuff like that. And all in all, it just really does feel nice to get back into my art. It feels nice to feel like I'm working towards telling a story again. It's like it's on my conscience, or rather, it's like it's in my mind. The story I wish to tell that I just want to make sure I get it right. I think that's a nice and humble enough statement is I want to make sure I get this right and I want to make sure that my skill is up to par to make sure that I get this right. It's already been 12 minutes, huh? And over time, that's really what I've noticed is that usually when I don't stream, that's when my art and artistic ability suffers. And I did find out something about myself is that I definitely have a love for allegory. I have a love for allegory, I have a love for creativity. It's sort of a shame that not many Christians or people who call themselves Christians are that creative. Like, you don't see many Christian stories or fantasy stories that have biblical elements in them, which is kind of unfortunate because the Bible, especially the Apocrypha, has a lot of potential for more creative stories. Like, there's so much, I guess you could say, esoteric stuff in the Bible. Like, you have people being turned to salt, you have the world flooding, you have people cursing their own children, and it's like, how come nobody has made a fantasy story about that yet? And that's definitely something I wish to do, is tell my own fantasy story using my faith. I think that would definitely be something fun and rather engaging, especially for people, is if we had more fantasy stories that used faith filled elements. That's another thing that's helping me is I definitely think it was a good idea to put the character model in while I was drawing so then I can sort of do a look back. So then I can just look at the character, make sure that it's on model. And there's definitely some spots or places where It's not quite on model, but I do kind of chalk that up to head placement because there are moments within the animation where Miria has her head pointed down. So I kind of had to adapt her chin to sort of be more pointed. If it if it irks me too much, I can always go back and sort of adjust it where it needs to be. I just fall under the fear of taking too long on my animations. That's really one of the main reasons I feel like my skills have stagnated is the simple sense that I feel like it's about how much I post or rather it's about how much content I make rather than the value of the content. So something will look bad and I'll just ignore it, let it be an animation error and still post whatever project or animation I'm working on. And then it's and then I'll post something and I can't even bear to look at what I just posted because I see the flaws in it. Even though other people just say, oh, it's such a good job and oh, you're so skilled. But it's like, I know. I know where I messed up. I know where I rushed. And it's like this balancing act of, okay, when do you post your work? Because you can't just have it in your computer forever. If you have it in your computer forever, waiting for when the project is finally perfect, then you'll never post it. Then you'll just be some dude on the internet ranting and raving about your skill, but you'll have no fruits of your skill. It's definitely something that is human. And I'm realizing it now that in many ways that I've changed from taking a break from streaming, in many ways I guess I've kind of stayed the same. And I wonder why did I even stop streaming? I definitely think that everything is a growable and teachable moment. There's always potential to be better than you were in your past. And that's sort of the hope I have is being better than I was in my past. And now I'm streaming this, I'm kind of hoping and praying that I had figured out a way to do my TikTok live so then I can have this on live. I wonder if I can do that in the background while I'm working on this. Is just see if I can't figure this out. Good thing I have two monitors because I'm gonna have this sort of in the side or in the background while I continue to work on my art. Let's see here. Go live. Hmm. I think I'm going to figure this out. Hmm. I probably should not be doing this midstream. I should just be focusing on my. That's a strange thing that my tablet does sometimes. Is I have this little button on the side of my pen that lets me access my hand tool so then I can move around the page. But sometimes it'll glitch and it'll act as a right click, and then I have to click off the window in order to. So that is what happened. Unfortunate. Sometimes what'll happen is. You see, that's how you know I'm out of touch. I just freaking drew a lot of this stuff on the wrong layer. So now I'm gonna have to actually go back and. Now, wait, was it just for this or. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to redo some of these frames. For now, the show must go on, so I'm gonna keep working on this. I'll just keep in mind for the future, like, hey, make sure you have what you're drawing on the right layer. There's a lot of. In animation, you are constantly learning, and that is something that you will never get over is that despite everything, you are going to continue to learn. I'm definitely having fun. You can tell that I'm having some enjoyment. Okay, and I'm trying to connect to TikTok Live and it is just not working for me. So I'm going to just abandon ship and we will focus solely on YouTube for now. I am, however, gonna try to work on my Twitch as well. I do want to try and animate on Twitch. 1 second. I will be right back. I have to handle some matters of the house. I'll be back in a second. Hello, hello, I am back. I was asked to close the blinds, so I had to do that real quick. And then I came back to finish this up. I'm not really one to share all my family business online. But I do what I can around the house. I am a man who loves his mother and does whatever she asks me to do with no qualms or gripes. And I mean, it's completely normal and okay to live with your mother. I mean, like, it's not like I live in the basement or anything like that. It's just, especially given this economy, and I know I made, like, this is like a really old stream. I was talking about the Bible and about how many people in the Bible, and like, even really in many other places and locations in the world, a lot of people practice multi generational living. So there's, again, nothing wrong with living with family. I mean, it's definitely better than how most people are living, which is just struggling. And I do pray for those people. I pray for, well, anybody who is going through any type and form of struggle. Folks go through their own journeys. I'm about to get like freaking esoteric and biblical here, but like everyone goes through their own journeys in life. So really, nobody has any right to try to attack or shame another person on what their journey is taking them through. People want attention, people want recognition, people want to feel happy. Everyone's going on their own journey, and a journey has highs and lows, good and bad, but you just have to go through that journey, and nobody's journey is the same. And that's sort of why I shifted from just being a church believer to more so a follower of Christ, because I learned that everyone's going through their own journey. And sometimes what the church will do is they will rose tint faith into like just one day you just got it, and you just had one day and you were this good, holy, perfect person. And that's not real. That's not what happens. People go through their highs and lows. People relapse. People have a bad day and they go back to doing what they were doing. Or some people have a good day and they think that just because they're doing good, they can do what they were doing in the past. And the thing is that it's a process. Like, we're all going through our own things, and we just have to be better than what we were. And that's why I try to blend my creativity with my faith, which is why I'm such a fan, and which is why I love allegory so much, is because I just want to show people that you can be a person of faith and you can still be creative. You don't need to have Veggie Tales or have something that's so basic and blatant that the only way to, like, I want to show people that we can have these complex discussions and have these complex stories, because that's what reality is. Reality is complex. There is no black and white, but everything is in shades of gray. Not to say that black and white doesn't exist, but actual black and white is definitely more rare. People don't just do things for no reason. There's usually a cause, or sometimes a trauma, or sometimes this unconscious behavior and core memory that you don't even know where it came from, but you still do what you do anyway. And what people need is not to be shamed or not to be attacked, but extended the grace that is deserved and befitting of them. I believe that everyone needs some form or degree of grace and love. And there's also a need for connection as well. I think at the end of the day, what happens is everyone just wants connection. Connection with somebody else, connection with themselves, connection with a higher overarching power. And so what happens is how that connection can manifest itself often gets policed or attacked. And it leads to aggression. It can lead to stifled emotions that fester and then will later express themselves potentially in, dare I say, dangerous ways. And no, no one has the answers. No one has all the answers. But I do think that we could spend our time and energy talking to each other rather than trying to make whatever answers that work for us try to work for somebody else. Because everything don't work for everybody. That's just a harsh truth. I'm just taking a moment to think. It's been a minute. Sometimes I do that. I like pause and try to process what's going on. So, what I'm doing now is I'm actually trying to match up where sort of the strands are supposed to begin. So then I can trail it back and have my animation be consistent. That's really an issue I come up with is like I'll have these extravagant ideas for animations, but then I can't stay on model or like sometimes my animations will be choppy and they'll cut, which is freaking terrible, but it is a work in progress. Yes, it is a work in progress. That is life. But then again, not everyone can do what you can do. I think that we are all given a gift, an ability, and aptitude that makes us special or that gives us a special form of ability. And then we can. One second. while I have the opportunity, I do want to go back just before I finish up this song band because it's definitely something that I did not want to do by mistake. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to turn off my onion skin. That's actually a bad habit of mine I have. Sometimes I will keep the onion skin on and it will just look, I mean, it won't look terrible, but it's definitely, what's the word? Not unprofessional. Hmm. Let's see. We're going to Control X. And then we're going to jump to this frame and press Control V. That's sort of a quick and easy thing I learned in animation is sometimes when you mess up, you can just do like a Control X, Control V, and that allows you to cut out or copy your frame. And then it allows you to put the object that you copied back into the proper place. And then really the only hard part now is to just make sure it's aligned. Because while it is easy and simple to just copy and paste it, you do want to make sure that everything looks good and aligned and well. It's probably the hardest part when it comes to animation is making sure, like literally, you can do anything else when it comes to animation. Just the one thing that will always get you is making sure you stay on model the first time and then make sure you draw everything on the same layer or on whatever or on whatever layer you want to draw it on. Because you can mess up just like that. It's really easy to mess up. But the fun and exciting part is when everything finally comes together and then you just have this amazing piece of art that you just did. Gosh, like I just really love animation. I really love the idea and concept of telling a story. Like it's just something that at least me personally, I don't think I can ever get over. I just love the idea of telling a story. And not just telling a story, but giving life to that story and putting it out into creation. That's certainly something I definitely love. And I take a lot of enjoyment out of. And I can say that despite everything I've been through, I still have that hope and desire for the future that view and that overarching desire that one day I'll be able to tell my own story, or that one day I will have what it is I seek and desire to an extent. kind of what keeps me going in many ways. And this process has had highs and lows. Every journey has highs and lows. But I guess it's about continuing to push and continuing to go despite the adversity and despite whatever failure occurs. But I definitely think that next stream, I do want to test things out and see if I can't go live on TikTok and on Twitch. I definitely think that I would like that very much. The chance and opportunity to go live on other platforms. I do want to keep on YouTube, of course. Like, YouTube is my main platform. But a lot of stuff has been going on TikTok, so I do want at least the chance for opportunity to have some stuff there. I don't think I would stream there on the regular, but maybe like a once in a while thing. Like, I feel like I would do concurrent streams on Twitch and YouTube, and then I would maybe do like a Friday stream on TikTok. Because I do feel like TikTok is a bit more faster paced. And I think I can add something interesting and maybe more chill to TikTok. Like, there's a lot of aggression on that site. Here at Owoh's Corner, we just chill out. Like, my YouTube family knows that my streams have always been chill. It's just a place and location for people to have a slight reprieve. I think that's always who I've been at my core. It's just, despite everything, because sometimes I don't get a reprieve, so I like to provide the opportunity for others to have a reprieve, if that makes sense. I do, in fact, want to talk about more lore stuff with my characters. I did, I posted a YouTube video, well, actually, two, on the power system, as well as I did an elevator pitch for my show, which that was definitely really fun. And I can say that the overarching idea and concept is that this world doesn't have magic in the general sense. So, like, there is no hocus pocus or words of power. Rather, the power system is dominion and authority. So, it's this idea that, in the Bible, God told mankind that they had dominion over the earth. So I decided to make that into a power system where humans have extended lifespans. They live a longer time. They have enhanced durability, enhanced strength, and then there's sort of like this low level psychokinesis or telekinesis people have, where it's like this sixth sense through their soul, as well as their soul doing like small things, like snapping your fingers and a light turns on, or someone able to spark a flame for a cigarette with their thumb, like little small things. People can use their air quote soul energy to charge their phone and do stuff like that. Like, so basically, dominions are the most basic and general of abilities that everyone has access to. And I think what's been very fun is the anthropological aspect of this world. I just have a very much love for anthropology. I love building on cultures, and I also love taking inspiration from pre existing cultures in order to give life to more broader elements and story beats. So, I mean, like, could you imagine a society where everyone has superpowers? Like, could you imagine a society where everyone can live to be like 300, 500 years old? Everyone can like move objects with their mind. Everyone has like this spiritual sixth sense where they just know when danger is coming, or when they know when someone is looking at them. Like, they may not be able to know the full context, but they're generally aware of like spirits or aggression or stuff like that. Could you imagine a society where there are floating buildings and there is technology that is not in our present world? And that's sort of the, I guess you could say, concept. It's the idea of tomorrow. That's what I wanted to focus on with this series, is that this is not some far flung future 500 years from now. This is what we could have tomorrow. This is what is feasibly possible within the next, dare I say, decade or two. There's really no word for it. Like, I can't really say it's futurism. I guess it's like solar punk tomorrowism. I don't even know if tomorrowism is a word, but around the corner. Yeah, I can say that. It's the idea and concept of just around the corner. Like, I mean, no, we won't be able to charge our phones with bioelectricity, but it's the idea that this is a allegorical fantasy setting of like, what if Jesus came back tomorrow and there were like angels and there were giants and mystical creatures? And that's another fun thought exercise I had, is like, people also take on aspects of their soul. Like, you're gonna see characters with pointy ears like elves, or maybe there's gonna be some people with tusks. You're gonna see people with animal features, like you might see someone with like cat ears or lamb ears, and they're all biologically human. It's just, it's also taking on that Bible prophecy of like everyone getting a new body. So it's the concept of people taking on physical aspects of their soul. So you might have someone who is snooty or more whimsical and esoteric. So they might have elf features and you might see them with pointy ears, or you might see someone who is kind of a bit jumpy or a bit more cautious, and so they may have cat ears on their head or a cat tail. Like they're all biologically human. It's just, it's a fun little artistic representation, I guess you could say. Definitely something I'm gonna have fun with and I'm gonna enjoy expressing in this project is I want people to theorize like why certain characters have certain aspects. And I'm not gonna lie, I was partially inspired by Has Been Hotel. Like before I watched Has Been Hotel and I saw the potential of that show, I was just gonna do like all human designs. But then I'm like, if I'm taking inspiration from the Bible, then like why should all the characters look the same? Or why should all the characters look human? Like, if Jesus did return, how do we not know that someone's gonna ask to be a cat girl? Or isn't gonna ask to turn somebody into a cat girl? Let's be real. I think that's definitely a fun thought exercise. Cause again, it takes into account that idea of just the overall idea and concept of tomorrow and hope. I definitely think that this is a series about hope, which is kind of funny. I'm not going to say ironic, but it's actually kind of funny that this is a series about hope because it's about holding on for something better, about striving and desiring to be better than when you were last. And yeah, there's gonna be drama in this series. Like, there's gonna be fights. There's gonna be people attacking each other. There's gonna be like very cinematic moments and fight scenes. But like, you can't have a story without a conflict. And I definitely plan to go beyond just the seven sages. Like, I'm making an entire world. Like, if you think I'm just gonna have the seven sages and then it's gonna be its own standalone story, like, no, I completely hope and desire to maybe one day make this into a TTRPG or make this into some kind of other story or other thing to have and do. I want to tell other stories within this world and within this framework. I want to expand on the lore and backstory because there is so much lore. And I took quite a few notes on the lore. Like, the story of the seven sages is just going to be about seven men and women who are seeking revenge. But there's also a greater backstory of how this world came to be. Like, the whole thing is that there was this there was this event known as the Cascade, which was when sort of like divine energy came back into the world, and that's why we have hyperflora and hyperfauna. There were then wars and different conflicts that occurred in that time period. Like, demons came out the ground, giants came out the ground, and because humans had access to spiritual energy, that was when a bunch of different wars and conflicts kicked off. Like, that's why the book of Revelation as well as the book of Enoch are like two big inspirations for this story. And the idea isn't to make a one for one to the Bible. Like, I'm gonna add some embellishments and I'm gonna add some allegorical asphyxiations to the story because that's what this is meant to be overall, is just a allegory. Like, it's not meant to be one for one. I'm not about to just have the book of Revelations, but like I'm gonna switch things up a little bit. Like, you have different key events like the final war, which was when mankind took their revenge on demons, and then there was the rise of the 24 gods, who stole, abstracted, and disseminated the thrones and authorities of the demons they struck down, which played into a greater event known as the subjugation of sin. There's like a lot of greater lore and greater history that I don't want to spoil, but it's just like, it's almost like just a fun little thing I did. Like this is just a fun little, I can't even say it's a thought exercise. Like just this concept and idea for a story I wish to share. But essentially, the concept and the idea is humanity taking back what is theirs, and sort of the rough patch within that is a journey for all. It's just one big allegory for a spiritual journey of highs and lows. Because people like to say one thing or say another, but all in all, it's about a journey. We're all going through our own journeys. And people try to say one thing or say another. People try to shame or give tough medicine. And I guess really, I'm trying to be the one who watches. I'm trying to be the one person that can give you a story that gives a slight reprieve. Just something to watch and enjoy until you can get back on your feet again. I guess really that's who I am, or rather who I desire to be at my core. And like, I'm no perfect person. I have my own issues. I have my own things I grapple with. I have my own envies. I have my own drawbacks. I am by no means a perfect person. But I guess I see that I'm a perfect person. And because I know and I'm aware that being a being a soft landing is not really common. So because it's not common, I'm trying to make a soft landing for other people that I wish I had. Okay, the song bands are done. Actually, while I'm at it, what I can do is work on this little thing. I'm gonna have to get the paint bucket tool and fill this in. You know what? I completely forgot. I'm gonna have to make some symbols, and it's gonna be this whole thing where I'm gonna have to. What's the word? What is the word for it? It's not rig. But basically, animators sometimes they reuse animations or they have like pre registered models or items for stuff so that it's faster and easier for them to just draw on those and place those throughout their animation rather than animating everything back to back to back. It's not called rigging, it's called something else. My mind is drawing a blank. But essentially, I'm gonna have to start drawing some musical notes so that I can put them in my library and have them to draw on. Like that'll probably end up being maybe I'm thinking of like 2 to 3 notes per strand for 4 strands, so that's gonna be about 3 times 4, 12 animation sequences. But I can probably not necessarily cop out, but like I can probably have more than one on a single strand. Hmm. I do want to loop this animation and make sure that it's a nice sequence. And then I'm gonna have to slow that down. So I'll probably, actually, while I'm at it, let's see. And that was supposed to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So that's about a half-second long sequence. So from this point onward, I'm actually gonna have to extend that to about the 4 second mark. And then I can just loop the animation. Yeah, there's a lot of science that goes behind animation. Like you gotta check your time. You gotta make sure that you don't go over your time. Then I'm gonna have to go back on the model and make sure that the shirt has ruffles on it. You know, I feel like the ruffles were just for an animated flair. I probably could have just kept it consistent. But if I'm gonna be doing effects, like I'm gonna have to keep a lot of stuff in mind. That was one of the fun things though. Is like Miria's design is directly drawn from the Y2K aesthetic, especially that sort of 90s pop star sort of look where they had like the Letterman hats and the apple bottom jeans. I essentially wanted to just take that aesthetic and say, like, okay, what if it was the tech future where magic exists? So then I said, okay, well, she's gonna have short shorts, but the short shorts are gonna be like sort of these detached leg sleeve slash chap things that are bell bottoms at the bottom. And then she's gonna wear a tank top, but her tank top is also gonna have like these two little ribbons on the back. And what was very popular was like the off the shoulder top, the off the shoulder shirt. So I sort of gave her that. And then she's meant to have gold accents. So she has like gold hoop earrings. The strap on her shirt is gold. And then she also has like these gold bracelets she wears around her wrist. And that also carries over into her magic, where her powers comes from her voice, which also has this gold look to it. Just a lot of gold. She's meant to be kind of like royalty, kind of like pop star royalty. That's what I wanted for her. And it's definitely been fun and exciting. A lot of work, but fun and exciting. I'm looking for something, but I can't find it. I had to step away from my desk. But it's all good. I think for this stream, I'm probably going to go for 2 hours. I think that would definitely be fun and exciting. A 2 hour live stream. I mean, I'm already 16 minutes, an hour and 16 minutes in. Let me correct myself. It's been such a long time since I streamed anything. I'm almost out of touch because I kind of, not that I don't know what to talk about, but I feel kind of bad because it's just been so long since I've streamed anything. I literally just pulled up Google Images and I looked up musical notes. So do not judge me. Okay? Do not judge me. I mean, y'all can judge me, but don't judge me too bad. You know, when I was actually in early high school, I had a band class and I did learn how to play the flute. I didn't keep up with it because it was required class and I'm like, okay, let me rent this flute, let me play the flute, and then let me do one class this and stop. I ended up actually really liking it and I still sort of can read sheet music. I've lost my detailed reading capacity. I will say that, but like I can read some sheet music, and I do know about half notes and quarter notes. I also know the muscle memory of the flute. It's just if you told me to like give you a C or a D, I wouldn't be able to do it. I just don't know how to do that much. But I do have a love for music. I have a love for music. Now I'm more of a soul music. Like when I was growing up, my mom, she would just religiously play like the oldies, 90s R&B. So there was a lot of Urban Mystic and Prince. No, Prince is more 80s though. But like just a lot of the oldies music. Like very much, I'm going to say underground R&B artists. Like I think it was my favorite songs would be I Refuse, Mona Lisa, and no, that song is I Refuse. My bad. I Refuse, Mona Lisa, and it was this other song. It was like this really old song that I forgot. I'll know if I hear it. It's just been a while. That's one of the strange things about Adobe Anime is you can make your line art as saturated as you want it to be, and there's no like optimization. But if you go in Photoshop, you gotta optimize it. Actually, should I be drawing them by hand or should I use like the oval tool? I mean, I could use the oval tool. And then the fill is gonna be like this. Okay, I think so. I'm gonna thicken the stroke. Let me select this. I wonder if I can do like a 1.5. Stroke size 1.5. The fill is gonna be brighter. And then I'm gonna increase the hue a little bit too. Now what I can do is I can take this. And so next, make sure it's deselected. Dang it. I think that's good. And then I'll probably take a darker color. I'll take my blending tool and do a brush mode, paint fill. I'll fill it. I'll do a vector. Ooh. And then I will actually lower the saturation and just darken it a little bit. Now then, transform, invert, paste. Okay, and something happened that I do not know what. So, what if I do Control Z, Control Z? We're going to exile that, and then I wonder if we just whole note. Dang it. Okay, cancel. We're going to duplicate, delete this. Convert to symbol. Okay, that is the first symbol. Now I have about, this is gonna be a simple this is gonna be a simple thing. So I'm just gonna do like a whole note, a half note. Wait a second. I'm gonna do a whole note, a half note, a quarter note, and then I'm gonna do a whole note, half note, quarter note, and then I'm gonna do like a beamed note, or maybe an eighth. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm trying to overcomplicate things that do not need to be overcomplicated. So, now what I could do, in fact, is take that rectangle and I can do like this. Hold on a second. I'm going to press it. Do I really want to just overcomplicate things? Because I kind of want to make it slanted a little bit. Huh. Oh, that's perfect. And it's just perfect. I will actually. Now, I forgot how to move an object behind another. So this is actually a processing animation that is going to take me a minute, but give me some time. Let's see here. Motion path, back apart, arrange, send backwards. Oh, I got it. Okay. I think it was called a quarter note. Okay. Okay, so I got the quarter note, the whole note, and then I got the I'm gonna do a half note, then I'm gonna do a beamed eighth note. Because that's usually just how far it goes when it comes to music. There's usually no. They try not to make it too complex. And then I guess really what I could do was actually just take one of these, do this, Alt. Then what I'm gonna do is actually arrange. That is good enough. So I'm going to select this, convert to symbol, and that's going to be beamed eighth note. I'm not about to type all that, so I'm just gonna do a beam to note. And then I think what I can do is just yeah, this is just a short animation. I'm not in the business of having it be musically accurate. So I'm just going to do one more note and then I'm going to call it a day and then I'm going to work on the animation or work on the tweening. My bad. In the past, I probably would have ended up drawing each individual thing by hand, and then that would have just taken an impossibly long time. Now it's like, let me just make a few symbols, and then afterwards, I'm gonna put them in and use like a tween or something. Like, that's probably one of the greatest things about animation is just you can just kind of like jury rigs. I shouldn't say jury rig, but like you can sort of just make things easier for yourself. And it is a bit of a process to make things easier for yourself, but long term, it definitely helps. It definitely helps to just streamline some things in the artistic and animation process. And it really does feel good to just animate again because for the longest time, it's like I haven't been drawing or animating anything. Or like I'll animate something in my free time and then I'll never finish the animation and I'll never post it. Now it's like streaming again, ironically, gives me hope. I shouldn't say ironically, because ironic sort of gives a preconceived doom or something that I should feel bad about. But I don't feel bad about this. I don't feel bad about my art or being creative or pursuing my creativity. It's definitely something that I love and wish to pursue. Sorry, sometimes I have silences, like I'll be working on something and then I'll just be quiet. I can't talk forever. I wish I could, but I just kind of can't. So there might be moments or times where I just stop talking. But I mean, after this stream, kind of what I want to do is to just work in the background and like try to set up my Twitch. Because I do feel like if I manage to extend my audience to potentially my TikTok presence, then maybe that'll help me. Oh, because then I get to talk about tweens and I get to talk about different animation rigs on TikTok, and then people will ask me questions, and then that'll help me with engagement, which is always a good thing. Like I just want to, I really want to fix that chin. I really want to fix that chin, but I know that I'm gonna have to. It's almost like a sign or whatever. Like focus on the musical notes first, then you can go back and adjust where you need to. That's really the one thing that I haven't been able to regulate yet is I'll see flaws and I want to fix them then and there, but I also know that I have other stuff to do and other things to address in my art that I just can't. I just got to be rigid with myself. Okay, so I just had to take a breather and sort of collect myself before I went gung ho into just working on this. So I'm going to use my eyedropper tool. I'm then going to use this. And let me actually go back to the design because I want to make sure let's see, because I'm looking at the eighth note right now, and I want to make sure that I'm very careful with my hand. Shoot. And you see, now it's not letting me draw anything. Oh, wait, that's because of the way I set it up. Sometimes I forget how I set up my freaking brush. And I really gotta remember that. Just for future reference. Let's see, I'm gonna arrange. Dang it. Okay, what if I send this to the back and then okay, so I got all my symbols, and so essentially symbols are ready-made objects in an animation that you can quickly ascribe a motion path to. And that's usually when we get into stuff like tweens, like classic tweens or motion tweens. So it essentially allows you to have prepared animations and prepared motions for like small little stuff, like particle effects or stuff like that. I'm a bit distracted because it's just I've been taking a long time working on these tweens and it was kind of time consuming, such as animation in general. I got some things on my mind, but that's neither here nor there. So let's see. Convert to a motion tween. Yeah, I may not need a tween. I may just have to do a bunch of, what's the word? Yeah, no, a tween is not gonna cut it. I'll just remove the motion tween. But I'm definitely gonna have to make it smaller. Hold on a second. Let me zoom in. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So it's a good thing that I made the symbol. So now really all I have to do is just... So what I can do is I can create maybe a loop for this. So I'll make a loop of this sort of like magic band motion for the musical strings. And then throughout, I'll just have different keyframes where I have the musical notes in different sections, sort of running along the band. And it'll give the illusion of sheet music as she is singing. And then in post-production, I can go into effects and stuff like that and add whatever effects I may need. And it is already 11:26, so it is almost getting pretty close to midnight. But yeah, this was definitely an activity. This was definitely a fun and engaging activity. And I will say that it feels really good to just stream again. It feels like I've just been going through some stuff, almost on a spiritual level, that has kept me from streaming. And I still don't know what my new schedule is going to be for streaming. I could do night streams, or maybe I could go back to doing them during the day. I don't know. But it feels good to animate again. It feels good to animate in front of people. And also to have that present moment sort of process of what do I do? How do I do this? What can be done? That's definitely gonna help me, help with my animation, help me with what I'm doing. And I'm just very thankful and happy that I could do this again and finally get into the motion and swing of things. Like even my own mom, she was talking about how, you don't stream anymore and what happened. And I'm like, you know what, I just fell out of it. But I really want to get back into streaming again. And it does feel very good to stream again. It's something that I definitely like doing. And just in this process, it's like a path is right before me to where now I know how to draw again because I'm streaming. And really all there is for me now is to just have faith and to keep going as I have been. And I do want to work and try to stream on other platforms as well. Maybe do, concurrent streams or back-to-back streams where I'm streaming on YouTube, but it's also live on TikTok and Twitch as well. And I had a low turnout this one time, but hey, this is my first stream back in a while, so I kind of had to get back into the mood of things. And I do hope you all enjoyed. Anyway, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I'll see you guys in my next video or live stream. It is Thanksgiving week, so I won't be able to stream this week. I may be able to sneak and do a quick Tuesday night stream, but after that, I won't be back till probably Monday. Anyway, I'll see you guys around, and I hope something good comes from this. See you guys in my next one. Bye.